am Dr. Gayatri, Assistant Professor at Smriti College of Pharmaceutical Education, Indore, from the Department of Pharmacology. In our today's class, we will look at drugs used in the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis, that is anti-rheumatic drugs. So what is rheumatoid arthritis? It is an autoimmune disease in which there is joint inflammation, synovial proliferation and destruction of articular cartilage. So by the term autoimmune disease, we understand that it is a disease in which body's immune system attacks healthy tissues or cells of the body itself. So in rheumatoid arthritis, this damage is seen in joints, bone and articular cartilage. So rheumatoid arthritis is chronic, it is progressive, it is a crippling disorder which only gets worse as the time passes with the that is vaccine and waning course. So coming to the pathophysiology, immune complexes composed of immunoglobulins, that is IgM, activate, complement and release cytokines, and these cytokines are chemotactic for neutrophils. So because of this, in these inflammatory cells produce lysosomal enzymes, and these lysosomal enzymes damage the cartilage, erode the bone, and during this process the prostaglandins which are released cause vasodilation and pain. So our body's immune system basically is stimulating the immune response in which cytokines are released, and then these cytokines, that mainly TNF alpha and interleukin 1 are released, and then these cytokines are chemotactic for neutrophils. Because of this, secretion of lysosomal enzymes happen, and these lysosomal enzymes cause damage of cartilage and they erode the bone, and during this process prostaglandins are also produced which cause vasodilation and pain. So we understand that in rheumatoid arthritis there is damage to the cartilage, damage of the bone along with pain and inflammation. So if we look at the structure of a healthy joint and arthritic joint, we see that this is how a healthy joint looks. There is joint capsule, synovial membrane and articular cavity, and then synovial lining, cartilage and bone. While coming to the arthritic joint, osteoclasts are formed. These are structures that cause destruction of bone or damage to the bone, and then inflammatory response happens because of which bone erosion is seen. So the bone is damaged, the cartilage is damaged, and then there is inflammation, there is formation of osteoclasts. So this is what happens in rheumatoid arthritis. So coming to signs and symptoms, we can see that the patient suffers from pain in joints, back or muscles, and then the joints of the patient become stiff, especially patients experience morning stiffness, swelling, tenderness and weakness, and in the whole body we can see that the patient will have fatigue, anemia or malaise. And coming to skin, lumps or redness can be seen on top of the skin, and if we look at the hand of an arthritis patient, there we can see bumps on the finger and or swelling. And other symptoms include flares, dry mouth, physical deformities or sensation of pins and needles. So coming to the treatment, what are the goals in the treatment of this disease? So the goals of this therapy are to reduce the pain, swelling and joint stiffness, to prevent articular damage and bone erosions, and then to prevent deformity and to preserve the joint function. So we see that whatever is happening in this disease is what should be prevented, and that is the goal of the drug therapy. So to reduce the pain, swelling and joint stiffness, to prevent the cartilage damage and a bone which is eroding, so that should be prevented, and then to prevent deformity and also to preserve the function of the joints. So NSAIDs are first line of drugs which are used in the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis. They do not show any effect on the progression of disease, but they are used for symptomatic relief because these patients suffer from severe pain and swelling and morning stiffness and all. So because of that, NSAIDs are used which cause symptomatic relief in pain, swelling, morning stiffness, immobility, but they do not arrest the disease progression. Coming to anti-rheumatoid drugs, these drugs, except corticosteroids, show these functions. They can suppress the rheumatoid process and then they bring about a remission, or they retard the disease progression. So they either suppress the process or they pause the process for certain time, or they completely retard the disease progression. But they do not have anti-inflammatory or analgesic action. So because of this, they are always used along with NSAIDs. So NSAIDs are used in rheumatoid arthritis. So these drugs, along with these drugs, NSAIDs are used, and also these drugs are referred to as disease modifying anti-rheumatic drugs, that is DMARDs, or slow acting anti-rheumatic drugs, that is SAARDs. So the onset of benefit with these drugs takes some time, that is over a course of few months only the effects of the benefits of these drugs can be seen. So after regular treatment, only after a few months the benefits can be seen, and once the patient stops taking these drugs, the patient will also experience relapse of the disease after a few months. So recently, along with these drugs, some biological agents have also been added for the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis in patients who are resistant to these drugs. So these biological agents include antibodies and other proteins. So coming to the classification of anti-rheumatoid drugs, the first class of drugs are disease modifying anti-rheumatic drugs, that are DMARDs. So these include non-biological drugs and biological agents. So non-biological drugs include immunosuppressants, sulfasalazine, chloroquine or hydrochloroquine, and leflunomide. So while coming to immunosuppressants, we know that rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease. So what is happening? Our body's immune system is acting against these tissues, causing rheumatoid arthritis. So what has to be done? The immune system should be suppressed. So these immunosuppressants are used for this purpose. But then our body's immune system is our body's defense mechanism. So it is primarily protecting our body from infections. So when patients are taking immunosuppressants, they obviously become more susceptible to infection. So when we see while studying the pharmacology of this class of drugs, we can see that the adverse effect of most of these drugs is it makes the patient susceptible to infections, especially to respiratory tract infections. So coming to biological agents, they include TNF alpha inhibitors, interleukin 1 antagonists, and then coming to adjuvant drugs, these drugs promote or accentuate the action of these anti-rheumatoid drugs. So these include corticosteroids. So corticosteroids include prednisolone and other drugs. So coming to the first category of drugs, that is non-biological agents. This includes immunosuppressants. So the first drug under immunosuppressants is methotrexate. It is a dihydrofolate reductase inhibitor. It shows both immunosuppressant as well as anti-inflammatory action. When coming to mechanism of action, methotrexate causes adenosine release, and this adenosine suppresses the inflammatory actions of the drugs involved in the inflammatory the cells involved in the inflammatory response, that is neutrophils, macrophages, monocytes, etc., thereby inhibiting the inflammatory process in the joint. So the onset of symptom relief is relatively fast, that is 4 to 6 weeks. Therefore, this drug is preferred even in initial therapy. And methotrexate is now the DMRDO first choice, and it is standard for treatment, standard treatment in most of the patients, including those cases with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. And even in combination therapy of 2 or 3 regimens always include methotrexate. So coming to its pharmacokinetics, oral bioavailability of methotrexate is variable because it is affected by presence of food, and its excretion is hindered in those with renal disease. So this drug should not be given in patients with renal disease. Coming to interactions, probenecid and aspirin, both these drugs increase methotrexate levels, because of which there is an increased chance of toxicity. And also trimethoprim can add to the inhibition of dihydrofolate reductase and result in depression of bone marrow. Coming to adverse effects, oral ulceration and GI upset are major adverse effects of methotrexate even in low dose regimens. And with prolonged therapy, progressive liver damage, even liver cirrhosis can be seen in some patients. And this adverse effect is not seen in patients who are taking short courses in cancer. And the incidence of chest infections is increased because it is an immunosuppressant. The incidence of infection, that is chest infection, is increased. Coming to contraindications, it is contraindicated in pregnancy, breastfeeding, liver disease, active infections, leukopenia and peptic ulcers. And then examples of this drug include neotrexate and biotrexate of 2.5 mg tablet. So coming to the next drug, that is azathioprine. So this azathioprine is a purine synthase inhibitor, and it first gets converted to 6-mercaptopurine, and then only it shows its action. So this azathioprine, it inhibits purine synthesis, because of which less DNA and RNA are produced, which results in reduced white blood cell synthesis, which causes immunosuppression. So this drug primarily acts by inhibiting purine synthesis. So the interactions include, when it is given along with corticosteroid, it acts as it shows a steroid sparing effect, for which it is primary. So because of this interaction, it is primarily used now, especially in cases with systemic manifestations. It should not be combined with methotrexate. Dose include 50 to 150 mg per day. So coming to the next drug, that is sulfasalazine. So this sulfasalazine exhibits anti-inflammatory action in bowel, because of which it can be used in ulcerative colitis. And then in addition, it also suppresses the disease in significant rheumatoid arthritis patients. The mechanism of action of this drug is unknown. It shows modest efficacy, and the side effects can be unpleasant. They include neutropenia, thrombocytopenia, which are seen in about 10% of the patients. Hepatitis is also possible, and it is used as second line of drug for mild cases, or it is combined with methotrexate. So the dose include 1 to 3 grams per day in 2 to 3 divided doses.